Hey everybody, it's Dick Vet, your friendly neighborhood veteran, and this is part 10 of the Warriors Reflection series. They told me that it would appear to me that I was alone, even in the midst of people, and I would feel that there was no one else like me. Why do we isolate ourselves and see our struggle as unique? At first, I was thinking of all the current problems with the veteran community. The disconnection from the fighting force, something bigger than ourselves, only to be scattered to the winds with no readjustment training. The mass diagnosing of veterans of PTSD in order to push a pharmaceutical solution. Pacifying America's brave. The lack of healthy leadership within the veteran community. But I get pulled back. The origin of the Warriors Reflection is an ancient lesson passed down over generations through oral tradition for who knows how many hundreds of years. This has always been an aspect of being a warrior. It's deep. Although modern problems might make it worse, normal to feel that the war you face within yourself is a solitary battle. I also believe that throughout time, warriors have always needed the same things, including a powerful ego. And admitting any internal conflict is akin to showing your weakness. Completely taboo in warrior culture. The problem in military culture is weakness shaming. Guilt and shame are different. Guilt is you did something bad and maybe you face consequences. Shame says you are a bad person for doing something wrong. Shame attaches your identification of self. That's why it's harmful. As opposed to guilt, which is actually a healthy experience. The shame in military culture is a bigger deal because admitting weakness equates to self-identifying as the weakest link in the chain. There's an unspoken rule that if a mission fails, it's the fault of the weakest person on the team. You're only as strong as the weakest link, they would say. So it isn't just that admitting weakness is not masculine and you might get teased. No, it's much more detrimental to a warrior's reputation. Admitting weakness is volunteering to be the scapegoat, to embody the blame for mission failure. It's an inherent part of warrior training to hide this struggle. There is only one weakest link in the squad, so of course we assume that we are alone in this struggle. We assume all those hardened warriors we look up to, they don't deal with this. But they do. Most veterans believe their struggle is evidence they are the weak one, and they will stay in denial of that suffering because they fear being shamed. When I started drawing comics, every once in a while I'd have a good one. I got like hundreds of comments about how I'm speaking their truth. A lot of, how do you know what I'm thinking? Comments of gratitude. But other times I'd write a comic that was an emotional gut punch, but I'd touch on something. I would get hundreds of private messages saying the same thing, but the comments section would be barren. They didn't want to be seen relating to that comic because of shame. Over 100 comics, I learned quite a bit about what aspects of self a veteran hides out of shame. Cleansing. Shame is an aspect of fear. And if you look at your moral compass, the opposite of fear is love. As I recall my own cleansing of my box of shame, a lot of loving memories. The guides I had were loving men who treated me like their son. They were the kind of men who have that genuine warmth. I'll meet one from time to time, but they are rare. Specifically, they had a graceful and forgiving nature. That's what I was striving for. I thought that as a counselor, I would have an easy time with this, but cleansing shame is about being graceful and forgiving for yourself, not other people. It's about cleansing your voice of self-degradation. For many of the most horrible things ever said about you were from your own thoughts. Cleansing requires you to feed the opposite element, to have grace and forgiveness for yourself in order to counter your negative self-talk. You have to love yourself enough to stand up for yourself. Once you start, it's actually quite easy. Just like choosing to love someone else. Loving them is easier than making that big choice in the beginning to put yourself out there. And you have to make that choice for you. I see 2 tangible habits involved in this cleansing. First is the beginning pages of a journal. You're going to build a frequent habit of writing daily, then you start that exercise by reading the first few pages. You don't even know what the journal's going to be for later. It could be a dream journal or a gratitude list. It's for later. The first pages, you write the belief structures and positive affirmations you're attempting to instill into your automatic thoughts. You write the true and good things about yourself, your strengths that you need to depend on, that you often forget. This list will grow when someone tells you what they like about you, and you add it. This exercise gives you the replacement thoughts for the self-degrading thoughts you want to let go of. If shame has power over you, then you need to instill its opposite, and it takes time to develop healthy self-talk, not to mention a loving self-talk. You have to know what you're grabbing hold of before you can let go, usually. The second aspect of this, because it's all about love and connection, which is why this is difficult, is joining or creating a squad. At least developing a healthy social life. But I think the other reason we feel so alone in our battle with shame, disconnection, and isolation is that the solution is based in love and connection, which is another taboo emotion to discuss openly in men's culture, not to mention military environment. Which is why even the most hardened veteran can be a bit of a whiny bitch about getting over yourself and socializing with other people, or actually getting involved in a veteran group of any kind. There are veteran groups popping up all over the country who have a mission or a passion, or they just get together and hang out, but they all suck at recruitment. You have to find them. Or start a fill-in-the-blank whatever group yourself and find the brothers and sisters who have bunkered in around you. And I know as I say this challenge, it sounds scarier than going back to a war zone. But pro tip, humans need love and connection to be healthy. And the healthiest manner in which you can set yourself up for success is to be in a squad. You were trained to be a warrior in a squad. Why do you think you can train to be a veteran by yourself? And it's the healthiest if you're in a squad that actually meets face-to-face a couple times a week. Creating connection in your life is not just for your own sake, but it's for the sake of the isolating veterans in your community who need you in their squad. We the people includes you. This is Stick Vet signing off.